Welcome back to my channel CopyTube. You know how much I love a good laugh, right? But sometimes you just need a good cry. And what better way to let those tears flow than with a truly moving television series? Television series have the unique ability to delve deeply into their characters and storylines, often tugging at our heartstrings and bringing forth powerful emotions. Here's a list of the top 10 sad series, with premiere dates that are sure to leave you reaching for tissues. Get those comfy clothes on, grab your favorite snacks, maybe some tissues too, and let's dive into a world of emotions together. First up, we have This Is Us, which premiered in 2016. Now this show, you guys, it's a real tearjerker. It follows the Pearson family through the years from the time the triplets were born. Can you imagine having triplets? Talk about a handful. To their adult lives. We see their struggles, their triumphs, their heartaches. And let me tell you, there are a lot of heartaches. But there's so much love too. It's the kind of show that just makes you want to hug your loved ones a little tighter. You see, it reminds us that family is everything, even when they drive you crazy.
One of the things I love about This Is Us is how it jumps back and forth in time. We get to see how the decisions the parents made when the kids were young affect them later in life. It's like a big, beautiful puzzle, and you can't help but get totally invested in putting all the pieces together.
The writing is just brilliant, and the actors, oh my goodness, the actors are phenomenal. They really bring these characters to life. Sterling K. Brown, who plays Randall, he's just incredible. Every time he cries on screen, I swear, I lose it. Every single time. But it's not all sadness and drama. There's humor sprinkled throughout, those moments of levity that make the sad parts hit even harder. It's like real life, you know? We laugh, we cry, we experience it all. If you're looking for a show that will make you feel everything, This Is Us is definitely worth a watch. But be warned, have those tissues handy. You're going to need them. Next up is 6 Feet Under, which premiered back in 2001. This show is all about a family who runs a funeral home. Now you might think that sounds kind of morbid, but trust me on this one. It's actually incredibly moving and thought-provoking. Each episode deals with a different death, and we see how the Fisher family helps the grieving families cope with their loss. But it's not just about the dead, it's about the living too. The show explores the complexities of life and death, love and loss, family and relationships. It's deep, you guys, real deep.
What I love about 6 Feet Under is how it makes you think about your own mortality. It reminds us that life is precious and that we should cherish every moment. We see how the Fisher family deals with their own grief and how they learn to move on after a loss.
The show also has a really interesting cast of characters, each with their own quirks and complexities. There's Nate, the oldest son who's struggling to find his place in the world, and Claire, the youngest, who's trying to figure out who she is as a young woman. And then there's David, who's trying to come to terms with his sexuality while also dealing with the family business. 6 Feet Under is one of those shows that stays with you long after you finish watching it. It's beautifully written, well acted, and it will definitely make you think. Now let's talk about The Leftovers, which premiered in 2014. This one's a little different. It's set in a world where 2% of the population suddenly disappears. Can you imagine? 1 minute they're here, the next minute they're gone. Poof, just like that. The show follows the people who are left behind, the ones who lost loved ones, the ones who are struggling to make sense of what happened. It's a show about grief, about faith, about the search for meaning in a world that no longer makes sense.
What I find so fascinating about The Leftovers is how it explores the different ways people cope with trauma and loss. Some people turn to religion, some people turn to cults, some people just try to numb the pain. There's no right or wrong way to grieve, and the show does a beautiful job of showing that.
It's also a visually stunning show with some really haunting imagery. The music is incredible too. It all adds to the overall atmosphere of mystery and melancholy. The Leftovers is not an easy watch, but it's a rewarding one. It's a show that will stay with you long after you finish watching it. It will make you think, it will make you feel, and it might even make you cry. Chapter 4. Atypical, Finding Your Normal. Let's move on to something a little lighter, shall we? Don't worry, I still have tissues nearby. Atypical premiered in 2017, and it's a coming-of-age story about Sam, a teenager on the autism spectrum. Now this show is full of heart. It's funny, it's heartwarming, and yes, it's also sad at times. We see Sam navigate the challenges of high school, dating, and family life, all while trying to find his place in the world. What I love about Atypical is how it promotes understanding and acceptance. Sam's autism is a part of who he is, but it doesn't define him. He's just a teenager trying to figure things out, just like everyone else. The show also does a great job of portraying the family dynamic. Sam's parents are incredibly supportive, but they also make mistakes. They're learning just as much as Sam is. Atypical is a show that will make you laugh, it will make you cry, and it will definitely make you think differently about the world around you. Chapter 5:13, Reasons Why, a Conversation Starter. Now, 13 Reasons Why, which premiered in 2017, is a show that tackles some really tough subjects. It's about a high school student named Hannah who takes her own life and leaves behind 13 cassette tapes explaining why she did it. It's a difficult show to watch, but it's an important one. It sparked a lot of conversations about bullying, mental health, and suicide prevention. What I appreciate about 13 Reasons Why is that it doesn't shy away from the difficult topics. It shows the devastating impact that bullying can have on someone's life. It also shows how important it is to reach out for help if you're struggling. The show is not without its critics, and it's definitely not for everyone. But it's a show that has the power to start conversations and raise awareness about some really important issues. Chapter 6, Bojack Horseman, Laughter Hiding the Pain. Now, for those of you who like your sadness with a side of animated comedy, there's Bojack Horseman, which premiered in 2014. This show is about a washed-up actor who also happens to be a horse. Yes, you heard that right, a horse. But don't let the animation fool you. This show is deep. It's a satirical look at Hollywood, fame, and the human condition. Bojack is a deeply flawed character who's struggling with addiction, depression, and a whole lot of self-loathing. What I find so brilliant about Bojack Horseman is how it manages to be both hilarious and heartbreaking at the same time. It's a show that can make you laugh out loud one minute and then leave you in tears the next. It's a show that explores the dark side of fame and the emptiness that can come with success. But it's also a show about redemption, about trying to be a better person, even when you've messed up in the past. Chapter 7, When They See Us, Justice, Delayed, and Denied. When They See Us, which premiered in 2019, is a miniseries that tells the true story of the Central Park Five. These were 5 young men of color who were wrongly accused and convicted of a brutal attack in 1989. This show is powerful, it's infuriating, and it's absolutely heartbreaking. It shines a light on the systemic racism and injustice that plagues our justice system. What I admire about When They See Us is that it gives a voice to the voiceless. It tells the story of these 5 men and what they endured. It's a story that needs to be told, and it's a story that will stay with you long after you finish watching. Work of midwives everywhere. Chapter 9, The Handmaid's Tale, A Chilling Warning. The Handmaid's Tale, which premiered in 2017, is a dystopian drama set in a future where women have been stripped of their rights. It's a chilling look at what can happen when a society devalues women and denies them their basic freedoms. It's a tough show to watch, but it's also incredibly powerful. It's a story about resilience, about the power of the human spirit, and about the importance of fighting for what you believe in. Chapter 10, Afterlife, Finding Humor in Grief. And finally we have Afterlife, which premiered in 2019. This dark comedy drama was created by and stars Ricky Gervais. He plays Tony, a man who's struggling to cope with the death of his wife. It's a show about grief, about loss, and about trying to find a reason to keep going when you've lost the person you loved most in the world. What I appreciate about Afterlife is its honesty. It doesn't sugarcoat the pain of grief. It shows how debilitating it can be, but it also shows that there's humor to be found in the darkest of times. Outro time for a good cry? Well, there you have it, folks. 10 incredibly moving and thought-provoking television series that are sure to tug at your heartstrings. Each of these series engages with their viewers on a deeply emotional level, providing poignant storytelling that often results in a powerfully cathartic experience. So the next time you're in the mood for a good cry, I highly recommend checking out one of these amazing shows. Just make sure you have a box of tissues handy. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, CopyTube, and be sure to let me know in the comments below which of these shows you've seen and which ones you're adding to your watch list.